And with that thought being repeated for years and years through childhood and just most of your adult life too, there's a sense of estrangement from other people because the very idea of other people, when believed in, creates the cutoffness. The so called spiritual path is largely about undoing your estrangement from the world, from reality. It's about undoing the mechanism that makes it feel like there is a you who is estranged, because that's exactly what the mechanism does. And one of the main ways that this happens, at least for me, how it happened, was through the experience of other people and the experience of estrangement in the social domain. So in this video, I'm going to help you see through that. What are some signs that you're ready for this step? After you have sort of the typical mental seeing through thought, seeing an absence of yourself and your thoughts, then there's the more physical embodied version of that, where we feel an isolated individual in our body, as the body. The way you know that this might be happening to you, or that you might be ready to see through this or go through this portion of the shadow work, is that there's still a sense of otherness when you hang out with other people. There's something unfulfilling, exhausting, or tense and uncomfortable just about the premise of being with other people or being around them. Some type of tightness that is in contrast to your newly available access to presence. That when you're with other people, that seems to go away. It seems to be conditional on being alone. That there's some type of intimacy that you have when you're alone that you don't even have when you're with other people. But it's weird. Shouldn't interacting with other people be a closer experience than interacting with nobody, just with the air and the walls in the room? So that's how you know. How we have to deal with this is directly getting in touch with however it's showing up for you. What is off when you're hanging out with other people? And if it's this estrangement thing, it's likely this mechanism of tension in the body that makes you feel cut off from others, that happens when you're in the presence of other people or you're kind of thinking about them. And the reason we can talk about this is because it's a mechanism that happens in the mind and the body, which is good, which means it's not real. It's not actual reality. It is real in the sense that it's experienced, but it's not real in the sense that you're not actually estranged from other people. So the goal here is not just to see through the belief that you are believing about other people, but it's to feel through the feeling. You want to get to the core, the very root feeling that you're not fully feeling yet, that this phenomenon is bringing up in you. So in my case, it was this subtle tension. It wasn't even anxiety. It was just this kind of slightly nauseating discomfort, a tension in my body. I felt it inside of my stomach and honestly, all over my entire body. And then it's taking that feeling and taking your new understanding of who you are and bringing it into that. The key insight here is that it's not about reframing how you see other people. It's not reframing how you see yourself. It's not reframing how you see social situations. It's about seeing the lack of other people as a thing. That other people are actually genuinely a myth. There's no such thing as people in general, which if you've had an initial insight, an initial awakening, it will show you that the way that you exist as thought refers to you is not true. But the same thing is true about how thought refers to other people. And with that thought being repeated for years and years through childhood and just most of your adult life too, there's a sense of estrangement from other people because the very idea of other people, when believed in, creates the cutoffness. But it's the idea. It's not actually true. Now, disclaimer is, of course, you have a good reason to believe there's a conscious experience happening over there in what we would call the other person's experience. But that's it. So now you can actually relate to them better, by the way, because you recognize there's not this confusing, weird thing that you never really examined called another person. Conscious experience is what you can relate to over there. And that's all you need to relate to. And if that's all you treat as there, the sense of estrangement can start to drop. And you have to bring that understanding that I've never actually experienced this mystical idea I call another person. And you bring that into the body, that you collide that understanding with your seeming body's feeling that there is an estrangement happening, and it will melt it. It'll be like those videos where you see someone drop a red hot nickel ball in snow and it just melts all the way through. Those videos where they blowtorch a snowball or a red hot nickel ball and then drop it in something and it melts it through. So that insight will melt through the tension surrounding this idea of other people, which creates that mechanism of estrangement. It's good that this thing feels uncomfortable, because otherwise you would never address it and you would never see this. This isn't to say that this is definitely what's happening with you. You should try this as an option, but maybe this is just run-of-the-mill social anxiety you're having. Maybe this is just you need a new group of friends. Maybe this is just, you have a persona and it's exhausting. But hopefully for you, this video helped, because it was this sort of deeply rooted sense of otherness that you see in other people. And if you're able to really go to the core of your sense of estrangement from other people, then you'll be able to really at the core dissolve that. And what it feels like is intimacy. It feels like the retrospective, the opposite experience of the estrangement comes rushing in, because that's the case. That's how it is. And you can start to recognize yourself as all people, which is just a fancy way of saying you don't see other people, and there's no difference between a self and another. Those two things are not actually findable in experience. And you can recognize that you actually are all other people. You're everybody. There's no you and there's no everybody to be. There is just, as my teacher would say, one thing going on, and you're it. Am I blending in with I am blending in with the background. That's funny. Have no body. That's funny. That's perfect for a spirituality video. Anyway, this is part of what we would call the shadow work that happens post-awakening. So if you want help going deeper into this, just fill out the quiz below in the description, and I will shoot you some resources, or we can get in touch, whatever you want to do. Until then, have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next video.